We're Chloe and Matthew, two wine-loving foodies who have set out to explore the world one bite, sip and slurp at a time. In this series, we're exploring every iconic wine region in Australia to get a lowdown on the juice, the people and what makes them special. We're rolling into Beechworth with high expectations. This little gold town carries a huge reputation for its wines. Let's see what we can find.
We started planting here in 97, 98, so Cabernet Sauvignon originally, and then up at the top of the vineyard, 1998, some Pinot.
Okay, I like this place already. I have a feeling that I'm going to like these wines.
So that's the original, one of the original wings of the asylum, built 1867. And we needed to do something in terms of more barrel storage, so let's go down.
Mark Walpole has a long history of crafting wines in Australia. Mark purchased the vineyard property in 1995 and planted the first vines in 1997. He's continued since then to be a pioneer with new grape varieties in Australia. With a strong focus on old world winemaking styles, you might forget that you're in an Australian winery whilst wandering around these cellars and believe you're back in the European caves.
So Piquet, it's a variety, again, that I brought in when I was working with browns. You think about the very best Ridiculos from Marquette, they're all done in big wood. Yeah. Very much about leaves and texture, but there's this really nice sort of saline acidity just to the side of the leaves in the finish.
It really does, it just chases right down the jawline.
So we're really happy that's the first wine we've made, and we're sort of,
that's nice.
Yeah. So white label Sangiovese is all aged in big wood for 12 months and has about 5% Colorino as well. The main claim in this wine is from an old vineyard, Castello della Paretta near Siena. We've been making Sangs from about 2010 was the first vintage. In Australia, you think about benchmark wines. No one had really set out to create a benchmark wine with Sangiovese. We thought, well, we're making some pretty good wines. So in 2017, we actually made 3 wines actually out of Sangiovese. White label sort of Chianti one, and then we also made one like a Chianti Superiore, so barriques for 18 months, and a third wine which is more like a Brunello. So it was a year in barrique followed by a year in big wood followed by a couple of years in bottle. Then release. This wine is that wine, the top Sangiovese in Australia.
Yeah, this has surprised me. Day 2 of wine tasting, and this is our camp spot last night. There's Rexy. Look at that view.
Beechworth is sort of unique because we're such a small area that's able to produce so many good varieties. We do make Australian Special, no doubt. I think we make Australia's best Sangiovese. I think we make Australia's best Nebbiolo. I think we make Australia's best Viognier. This is sort of scary stuff for a region of 30 producers. You know, we're tiny. And we're arrogant. We're biodynamic, which is important. Our process is to make all out of the land.
What made you choose to go biodynamic?
So when we planted, our intention was to be sustainable, whatever that means. Planted a vineyard and it looked good, really interesting, and then the vines started looking sick. And so I got an expert in, because I knew very little, and they said, oh, very easy to know what's wrong. We have in this area something called the African black beetle, and they're causing damage to the roots of your vines. And I said, oh, does that mean I've made a mistake? And they said, no, you just killed them. So they gave me the name of a product, which I went and bought, and then I got it here, and I saw that it had a skull and crossbow on it. And I thought, this is silly. Changed my life to try and make a serious wine, and I'm about to destroy the very thing that makes things grow. So I got on an aeroplane and went around the world and talked to anyone who would talk to me about wine. In that area I ran across somebody I knew but not very well by that stage. His thought was perhaps black beetle, which normally eats grass, has nothing else to eat because you took grass away, so it's eating roots. And that sort of made sense. I'd also found both in America and Italy and France, the most interesting wines that I had tasted were made by people who were farming biodynamically. That didn't mean I liked all the wines, but they were interesting and they had a life that other wine didn't have. I came back and we started researching biodynamics, and that's really, I guess, how it happened. Chardonnay with about 20% Viognier, what I would sort of consider to be a serious everyday wine.
It's very savory.
What Viognier does, I think, it allows the acidity and the freshness of the Chardonnay, and then it fills the back palate.
The finish on that's long.
What year is that one?
19.
And how long does it spend on oak?
Probably 18 months. We make everything either in concrete or ceramic or wood. Stainless steel is simply for blending. So Chardonnay, 80% is not grown by us.
Okay.
Beechworth, but not grown by us.
Yeah, all of your wines are quite savoury, aren't they?
Well, I think wine should be savoury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So this is Roussanne.
I love all the colours of your wines too. They're like golden.
I use skin contact in small amounts on everything.
It's almost like truffly.
Yeah, it is a bit. It is a bit.
Like I could almost imagine that with a Piemontese pasta, like
Yeah.
like
Like that, your butter and sage pasta.
butter and sage and truffle pasta or something that would cut through that fat. And
So Chenin, I guess middle Loire style rather than Vouvray.
Chennon's one of those grapes that like it can have this huge range, and like I enjoy the Chennons that are really bright and crisp and more like oysters and Chenin.
That's
But
why
this-
I say to you it's middle Loire, not Vouvray. I'll let you taste this before showing you the vintage. So Viognier.
Again, very savory, almost meaty on this one. Meaty, and I want to say gamey.
How old?
I'm gonna say 7 years old
I was gonna go
with
8
no
to 10.
ridge.
So that's what Beechworth can do with Viognier.
Wow.
Wow.
The blend is 60% Sangiovese and 40% Shiraz. When I first made this, no one else in the world had made this blend. What I was looking for was an Australian wine. Whatever we think, Shiraz belongs to the Rhone, Pinot Noir belongs to Burgundy, Chardonnay belongs to Burgundy, Sangiovese belongs to Italy, Nebbiolo belongs to Italy. This, in cool climate Australia, is both an understanding of Italy and an understanding of Australia.
Why don't you think it works? I'm curious.
Because I think, again, it's, well, no, okay, I have an opinion about Cabernet.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Cabernet should taste like Bordeaux, and if it doesn't, for me, it doesn't work.
Okay.
And I think that all that happens here is that, other than bits of the Yarra Valley, bits of Margaret River, our Cabernet, I mean, and again, it's that thing, they're good wines, but they're not, for me, what I want to drink.
Yeah.
And I find that when they mix Cabernet and Shiraz together, it's the same problem. Whereas this is mostly about perfume, which draws you into the palate.
I've always said mixing those two grapes is like trying to make the two biggest, strongest bullies on the playground play nice together.
Yeah.
You could just sit here and smell it and be satisfied. You don't even need to drink it.
So, Nebbiolo,
Here we go.
Calm down.
an example of power without weight.
Getting like a dried cranberry on the nose. Like a fennel.
Anise rather than fennel.
Anise. Okay.
That tannin on the finish, it gets you from the tip of your tongue all the way to the back.
Ooh.
Just turns your whole tongue to velvet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a Barbaresco, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the
That's
best Nebbiolo I've had in Australia, hands down.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. It's the real deal, people. It's the real deal.
This is the wine that put us on the map. It's in the Langton's classification. I think that Shiraz ought to have the soul of a Pinot. It's probably a Shiraz. but it should have that spirit that Pinot gives you. So it mustn't be too. Again, it's about the difference between power and weight. In your travels, has anyone showed you any sweet wines? All right, I'll show you a different version of a sweet wine.
Okay.
Awesome.
So this is Solera, which is now 15 years old. It started off as Viognier, then we added Sauvignon, then we added Chardonnay, then we added Chenin.
It's nutty, toffee, a little bit of dried fruit, dried apricot. It's almost got a bit of a dried cantaloupe, or dried rock melon.
Yeah.
God, I feel like I'm teleported back into Italy right now. It's a bit odd, actually. Those rolling hills, and yeah, you've got a very Italian vibe going on here.
We've got a little bit more variety in the types of wines that we make. So we've got 50 hectares of vines now. We've been here about almost 25 years. So we were part of that push into cool climate wine regions, and particularly looking to grow Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And then we grow a few quirky things, Roussanne and Viognier, which suit our climate really well. This is our premium selection in Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Shiraz. And we try to do Viognier and Roussanne in the Secret Village line as well. More chewy, structured white wine.
That's nice. That's good Chardonnay.
Howdy. How's it going today?
Good morning.
Long time no see.
Yes.
So, salty dogs and peppery cats, how are you today? Happy Monday to you.
Likewise.
First of all, it's a bit wishy-washy out there. It's like, thank we've got wine. Would you like to take a seat?
Absolutely.
Now, what's happening here is a 2015 vintage Method Traditional Sparkling Pinot Noir Chardonnay blend.
Yeah.
Now, this particular product, 4 years on lees before disgorgement. So green apple and honeysuckle drive to it, solid brioche backbone, and a fine, creamy, light, dry finish. Clean acid structure is an excellent aperitif star, which will help cleanse your palate and get us ready for the rest of the adventure. This is a cheeky little Vermentino. It's a lot of fun. Now, this was only just released, and he's done, I think, a fantastic job labeling. The best way to describe it would probably be like a cross between a Riesling and a Pinot Grigio. In that it's got that bright, clean acid structure, a little bit of green apple going on, a little bit of lime and lemon in the front palate, but still very slaty mid and quite a dry finish. Very handy with shellfish, prawns, oysters, all fun stuff. Or just on a porch in summer. Now Tim, we're talking about a cheeky little Verdicchio here. Now, this is the second vintage of the first Verdicchio grown in Beechworth. It is a very well-rounded product, polite acid structure, good citrus initial phenolic drive with a little bit of white flower. Very well put together product. You just don't see much Verdicchio at all in Australia.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and that opens it up. That's really nice.
If you're strapped for time while traveling through Beechworth, the Tasting with Lachlan at the Celador Wine Store is a deep dive that will give you a grand overview of the region. Plan to keep your afternoon open, and you may need a nap before dinner. We ran out of battery in everything we owned recording this tasting. Definitely worth your time, as the wines are amazing, and Lachie is both an expert on the regions and an absolutely delightful host and storyteller. He'll get you rolling on the floor with his jokes in between each sip of wine and story behind it. We know we'll have to come back to visit, as they are currently working on an expansion, digging out the cellars below their building. Can't wait to see how this space turns out. Beechworth is high on the list of our favorite wine regions, and we're a bit sorry to leave. But we have an appointment down the hill with Prosecco and some parties in the King Valley. It's not all fun and games, though.
We have
A bit of a problem.
a problem.
Make sure to like and subscribe below. You have to see what we get up to.